Hey guys, Joe Small Home Offer Prepping. Welcome to our channel. So today I'm going to be explaining the difference of using pigtails to wire receptacles and basically wiring receptacles in series. And I made a little drawing here on the top. We'll talk about that one first. That's basically connecting your receptacles in series, which means one is fed off of the other. And as you see what you have over here, let's back up a little bit. Okay, so over here we're basically showing the breaker over here, and this being the neutral bar up here. So what you see here is the neutral would come out of the panel and it would come over to here going into the first receptacle, and the power would come out of the breaker and then that goes to the first receptacle, okay? And it does not matter if you screw the tops or the bottoms or whatever. I'm showing them on the tops of the receptacle here, but GFIs matter, these receptacles do not matter. So if these wires were down on the bottom and these were on the top, that would not matter. So as you see here, you have power coming into the receptacle and then you would screw on the, in this case, the bottom screws, and that goes to the next receptacle. And same thing with the neutral. You'd come off of the neutral and you would go over to the next one, and then so forth going to the third. Okay, so that puts them all in series together. The problem is with that, okay, I did not do my house that way. I use pigtails on my house, and I'll tell you why. Is the power is feeding through this first receptacle, then it will go through the first receptacle to the second when it's wired this way, and then so forth, you know, the second over here, and then the third, and then so forth. I mean, and you can have, there really is no code as to how many receptacles you can put on one circuit. It's more based on the load calculations for that circuit, which we'll get into that in a different video. So you can have upwards 10, 12, whatever receptacles. Most electricians don't like to do more than 10 when they're wiring a house before they start breaking up different circuits. But again, there is no code that says how many you can actually have on one circuit. So what happens is, let's say this very first one goes bad here, then that means you're going to lose every other receptacle on that. So if one goes bad, and let's say you have two bedrooms with all the receptacles on it, or you have a living room, whatever, now you've lost all the power in that area because one receptacle went bad when it's wired this way. All right, and that's why I did not wire mine this way. Okay, I wired mine with what's called pigtails. So now we'll go down to the bottom here, and now you see the neutral comes up here. Keep in mind, these would all be in gang boxes here inside of the wall, but I'm just showing you rough pictures here. But the neutral would come in here, okay, and you see there's three neutrals. It's going this way and then that way, and here's the pigtail that comes off of that goes down to the receptacle itself, and same thing, off of the breaker over here, down on the bottom, we have the wire coming up, and you have three wires wiring it together. And I put some together, I'll show you guys before the end of the video. So then the neutral and the hot would both travel over to the next receptacle and do the same thing. You'd create another pigtail. So your current is basically going to continue. It'll go through here and then through here, and for the receptacle, it's picking it up right over here, coming down into the receptacle over there, okay? And this is how I wired my house, doing it in pigtails. And then, of course, on either one, when you come to the last receptacle, you would just have the two wires here. But again, if you were continuing with like 10, 12, whatever receptacles here, 8, 10, 12, then you would just continue to do this, you know, every single box over and over. You create the pigtails, and that's how I did mine, okay? And it's a much better way of doing it. Reason being, if this receptacle here were to go bad, the first receptacle, the current is still going to travel through here onto the next one, and this one is the only receptacle bad. So if I have 10, 12 receptacles on you know, one circuit, and an outlet goes bad, a receptacle goes bad, I'm only going to lose that one receptacle. Everything in the house on that circuit will continue to still work because the power is not relaying through each individual receptacle itself. Okay, so these are what pigtails are. Now, if you're a customer watching this and you have an electrician come out and recommend what's called a read device is where we replace all the outlets, switches, basically everything that gets old. And you can test your switches. If you actually go over to your switch and put your ear right next to your switch, okay, and just slowly turn it on, if you hear a little crackling or sizzling, then you need to replace that switch, okay? So that's a good idea if you have a read device. You start having receptacles going bad. So when you get a quote from a technician or electrical company, you're going to want to know what the difference is. Your house is probably wired this way because it's a much quicker way of doing it. So when the builder does it, they probably just did it this way over here. These pigtails are time consuming to make pigtails. You got to twist the wires together and all that, and it's a lot more time consuming than doing this. But it's a question that you want to ask, okay? When somebody gives you a price, don't just look at this guy's cheap, this guy's expensive. How are you guys doing it? Are you guys going to rewire my house this way so all the receptacles are in series together, so if one goes out, they're going to all go out? Or are you going to put pigtails in, install it with pigtails, so if I lose one receptacle, I haven't lost everything else, okay? So that is the difference, again, between Pigtails over here and on the top over here, you see where they'd be in series. So let's go take a quick look. Like I said, I put some together, so let's go take a quick look at that. Okay, so this is the first example over here. These ones have been wired with Pigtails, okay? And if you come up over here, you see when we take the black one as example here, this wire here would be the wire coming in from the power, from the breaker over here, and feeds up into here, and then we wire that together, okay? And then we have Pigtails, which come down and connect into the receptacle. Yeah, right over there, connect into the receptacle. And I'm going to explain a couple different connection procedures here. I think, is it this one here? Might be this one here. I did a couple different ways here. Now, as you see over here, okay, I actually put hooks on this and I looped it right over there to show you. These are true 20 amp receptacles, okay? And if you take a quick look, I'm not sure how this is coming out on the camera. Lighting's not great here, but you see over here where there's a side slot to it. That indicates that this is a true 20 amp receptacle, okay? If there was a device that needed to be plugged in, like a heater or something like that, and it was a true 20 amp, they had to have that 20 amps, it would have a side little prong on it right over there. So these are true 20 amp receptacles here, and with 20 amp, like I said, you have a couple options, okay? The best way is using the pressure plate. That's what I like to do. With 20 amps, just make it nice and easy. You get a nice strong connection that you can torque down to the correct specification. And I'll show you guys another little trick here. We'll zoom right in here. Now, if you take a look at this here, this is something most electricians, a lot of electricians don't even know. Apprentices a lot of times don't know. But when you're stripping your wire, okay, to know exactly what the, you know, the exposed area of the copper, what you want it to be. You see how this one goes in nice right over here? That's because I use this gauge right over here. So you see the first part right here, where you see that little indentation, right, kind of in the middle over here. If you're going to use pressure plates, okay, that is what you would use right over there. If you're going to put it into the you know, plate and screw it down, that's what you would use. You would strip it to that length right over there, and then it fits in perfect. If you're going to put a hook on, then you take it farther all the way down to the end over there, and then you hook, which one was it? Right over here. Then you hook it, and that's how it comes out right over there. It comes pretty well flush with the back of the receptacle over there, and then you have a nice solid connection on it. So that's the two ways you would install these. If you're installing 15 amp, then this is the only way you would install it, okay? And I'll get into the other way in a second here, because I do have a 15 amp receptacle to show you guys the difference. So like I said, this is what Pigtails would be, okay? And this would continue to go on and on and on and on, you know, through all 10 receptacles, whatever you have on the circuit. You would just create Pigtails like I showed you in the drawing. So that is the first one, Pigtails. Now, this is only 2 receptacles here, but let's go to the back. Now, this being the same thing with the receptacles being in series, as you see here, the power from the breaker would come here. This would connect to the neutral bar over here up in the panel. It comes and it feeds this receptacle right here, okay? And, of course, this one I have on the top. But these do not matter. GFIs matter, but receptacles like this don't matter. You can, you know, put them where you want. You can even... Oh, I don't think I thought. Oh, yeah. Or in this one over here I showed you guys. You see I actually have the hot on the top, neutral on the bottom. Still doesn't matter. I just did have to show you guys it doesn't matter. It's nothing I really ever do in the field. I always keep them together. The two of them when I'm putting these things in. But again, that does not matter, okay? If you were to reverse these and cross them and put this hot over here and this neutral up here, just like I have this, does not make a difference. On a GFI, makes a difference, okay? You can't do it. So, yeah, like I said, this one here, power would be coming in from here into this first receptacle. Then it jumps out from the bottom over here and comes around to the next receptacle and feeds this. Now, I only put 2 receptacles on here to show you guys basically, you know, how this works here. But this would continue. The next ones would come out of the bottom over here and then feed to the next receptacle, and so on and so on and so on. So that's how these things get wired in series. But again, problem being is if this first receptacle goes bad, then you've lost everything else in the circuit. And I've seen that a lot of times. You know, people call you up and say, hey, half the power went out, or I have power out in 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, or well, usually not a bathroom. Bathrooms are dedicated by themselves. But anyways, you get the example, 2 bedrooms and a living room, whatever. So yeah, that is basically how you do these things in series. Now this, like I said, this was the only 15 amp that I had, because I didn't do my house in 15 amps. And this is an older one. This is one I probably took out from somewhere. I'm not sure why it was even in my box of stuff, but anyways, this is a 15 amp receptacle, and you see here, like on this one, you can see it has the side slot right over it. The light here, if you guys can see it. But this one has, you know, the two verticals and one goes into a side, where this one does not. This is a 15 amp receptacle. Now, with a 15 amp receptacle, you pretty well have to loop these things here, okay? That's the way you have to install these things. You have to create your hook, and you have to loop these and torque them down correctly. And when you do that, you're going to put the, which will work out to be clockwise, but you're going to put the wire, so as the screw torques down, the hook is going, it's pulling the hook with it instead of pushing the hook against it. So you can see the way I've done that over here. For the hook. Now, with 15 amp, you cannot do this with 20 amp. If you take a look at the back of the 20 amp, you don't see any holes for backstabbing over here. You see the compression, it goes into the back, but then you're torquing down a compression plate over here. Now, with these, as you see here, you see these little holes in the back. Okay, these are for what's called backstabbing, which is what most houses have, and this is a lot of times why you have arc fault breakers tripping. You know, you can have a receptacle burn up. They're just they're not a great connection here. And keeping in mind, as time goes by, depending on how much of a load you put on these things here, metal expands with heat, contracts with cool. So as time goes by and you put a load on your receptacle that's been backstabbed, and you know, even though you wouldn't see it, but the wire expands, contracts, eventually you end up with a bad connection over there. Creates microscopic arcing, and that will trip your arc fault breakers. And I've seen that on houses that are actually, you know, less than a year old. I've seen that happen. This is nothing a professional electrician would ever do. With number 12 wire, okay, if you have a 20 amp circuit with number 12 wire, you cannot do it. These holes here will only fit number 14, and if you look in the code book, NEC, this is only acceptable for number 14 wire unless you use a special receptacle that does backstab with number 12 wire, okay, which they are out there. But that's pretty well how the code in NEC code book is written. So for this, you can only use number 4, but a good electrician would never, ever, ever do this. Unfortunately, when you build new houses, builders usually do this here because it's so fast. You just stab the wire into it. You don't have to do nothing, and you're done. So that's basically the difference between Pigtails series, how you would make your connections. Like I said, you see the little trick that you have, and over here on this one too, you have the gauge adjuster right over here, you know, right down over in here, so you know how to strip your wire and so forth from there. Again, it's showing you hooks and backstabbing. If you were to backstab it, then you only need to cut it right to about where this middle point is here. If you want to put the hook on, you need to go farther to put your hook on. So yeah, guys, that's pretty well, like I said, that's the difference between Pigtails and series. We're wiring the receptacles together in series. Not to be confused with wiring your house in parallel in series. That's a completely different thing. We'll get into that in the future in a different video. But these are putting these in series. They're all being fed together, and if one goes out, they all go out. So that's why you'd want to have Pigtails. And like I said, if you're doing a reed device in a house, you know, it's well worth it for the long run to actually pay extra money to have your electrician put Pigtails in instead of just rewiring these things in series. But, you know, wiring them in series will solve your problem for, you know, some time to come in the future. So, all right, guys, at this point, like I said, that pretty well covers what I was covering today. But I have a basically a test question I want to give you guys. So let's pop in over here. Okay, so here is the test question, okay, and I'll answer this on the next video that I make with you guys, and I'll give you the code reference to this, but I'll explain what you have over here, okay? And my drawing's bad, so I'll explain it to you. But this is a 2-pole breaker, okay, where this would be one breaker. I showed you have a breaker that's a 120, then you have 2 poles, which we use for 240, but they're putting out 2 legs of 120. So this is the question, okay, is it legal per code for you to use a 2-pole breaker, okay, and run 2 separate circuits off of that one breaker? So I'm showing a drawing over here, one coming down into this receptacle, which would be a circuit of how many you want on it, one coming down into this one here, which again would be a circuit of how many you want it. And if you notice the neutral bar over here, okay, and pay close attention to this, again, my drawing's bad, guys, but you get the point. You see the neutral has been pigtailed, so both circuits are sharing the same neutral, okay? This neutral come up to this one here, and then this one pigtails over here, and then so forth. You would have basically a 20 amp on each side. This would be 20, this would be 20. So this would be a 2-pole 20 amp breaker, and I kind of smush this a little bit, but you see it says 20 amp 2-pole here. So that is my question. Is this legal per code? If I were to take a breaker that's a 2-pole breaker that has a handle connected together, and I'll show you one, guys, in a second so you can see the difference, and use that to connect 2 different circuits and share a neutral between those 2 circuits, is that legal per code? Can I do that? So guys, drop some, hit me up in the comments, let me know the answer to this, what you guys think, if that is a, it's a code, if you can do that legally, and I will quote you the code next time. I'll show you in the code book exactly what that says. So let me show you real quick the difference between the 2-pole breaker and the single pole. Okay guys, so yeah, this is a 2-pole. So in the case I just asking you the question on this, would not say 60, this would be a 20. So my question being, can I use this 2-pole breaker in a panel and use this side for a 20 amp circuit and then use this side for a 20 amp circuit, completely 2 different circuits, and share the neutral together, okay? And this would be a single pole. Usually what we do here is this one here would basically run connecting to here and would you know, run one 20 amp circuit, then you install a second one for the 20 amp circuit. So question being, can I use one breaker like this and share the neutrals together? So guys, tell me what you think in the comments and I will give you the answer on the next video. So alright guys, we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.